بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان and اتبعوا. So this is the past form of plural. So they followed. واتبعوا, they do. ما تتلو الشياطين, ما, whatever. Ma is of few different types. Ma is sometimes used to mean what? So ma ismuk, masmuk. What is your name? Ma hada, what is this? Ma is mawsula as well. Here it is for relative pronoun. So ma, whatever, what? Jo ke maine mein. Ma sometimes could be nafiya, no ke maine. Ma hada, no. Ma hada illa bashar. This is not except a. This is not a bashar. This is angels perhaps. Ma hada basharan. This is not. So no in negative sense to negate something. Only the context would clarify what it means in that particular sense. So ma here means no, or what, sorry. So they followed what tatlu, what was recited by shayateen. What shayateen, shaitan recited, shayateen, devils, what they recited, they followed that. Ala mulki Sulaiman, on in the kingdom of Sulaiman alayhi salam. During the time of Sulaiman alayhi salam, the people of book, they learned magical words, and they would use it in order to get their ulterior motives fulfilled. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned some of them. وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ. They charged the Sulaiman alayhi salam of doing the same thing. Remember, Sulaiman alayhi salam had control over the jinns, and he would do certain things which normally you cannot see the cause of that. You can only see the effect. And as we discussed last week in detail, something that has a cause which is not seen is supernatural. It feels beyond the physical realm. So it appears magical. So miracles has that similarity where it actually happened, except that we don't see it. With magic, nothing happened. It is seen as it's happened. It's a delusion. It's an illusion created. People feel or see like it. So they equated some of the miracles of Sulaiman alayhi salam to the magic of the devils. And obviously wrong understanding, completely misguided ideas. So they started charging, oh, Sulaiman alayhi salam does the same. So he does kufr. He's kafir. They would say that Sulaiman alayhi salam disbelieved. They wouldn't call him prophet actually. In Bible, even now, it says King Solomon, King David. They would not consider them as prophets. And that's the blasphemy, obviously. So وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ. This ma is nafiya. And not disbelieved Suleiman. Means Suleiman did not deny, did not reject, did not do kufr. He was not involved in any of that magic or haram action. He did not reject. Rather, and were lakin is lakin, but rather ash-shayateen, the devils, they rejected, they denied, they disbelieved. What they do? يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ. They would teach. عَلَّمَ يُعَلِّمُ means to teach someone. عَلِمَ to learn. عَلَّمَ to teach someone else. So only the little change in the word, meaning has completely changed. That's the beauty of Arabic language. So يُعَلِّمُونَ, they used to teach, they taught النَّاسَ people السِّحْرَ, the magic. They would teach people the magic. So Quran rejected this idea. disclaim that he now will be disbelieve by getting involved in magic. He was never involved in that. And this also then protects this idea, that confirms this idea in a sense that this Quran is not a replica or a copy. This is not copied from previous scriptures. They would charge this, oh, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he heard it from so and so men, and he was a follower of a previous nation. He's only copying whatever. See, you say, مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ. Quran is actually confirming what is in the previous book, which means that you are. If that was the case, how could you then take something and reject something? Which means that this is coming from the same source. Bible came from the same source, Old Testament, New Testament, except that people corrupted it. So when Quran came as a final edition, it would just confirm what was appropriate and right. Whatever was wrong is rejected. And that confirms even the prophethood of Rasulullah. He being unlettered, means he did not learn or to read or write. How could he know all that except through revelation? That's the only way. So that behoves that he actually was prophet and true prophet, getting revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So with one statement, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually protected Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam and his fame. His magic was not at all a magic, it was a miracle that people equated to magic. It's obviously wrong. Attribution is a is a slander against him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thereby protected Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and proven his prophethood as well. And these two angels, they came and they would teach. This is, someone may say, how would they teach the wrong words? They would not teach, they would just teach the words which could lead up to magic, could be abused and utilized in a negative way. It's like you tell sometimes the children, oh, this is a swear word, don't do it. So that's a test. So you have to, and that is why, because the words themselves have some, could be taken as negative, and people could use it in the wrong way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not let the prophets do it. Sulaiman alayhi salam, for example, or prophets afterwards. Rather, two angels were sent to do that. Angels would only do whatever they are commanded. And there's this concept of taqween and tashri', we mentioned about that. Something which we are seeing here, cause and effect world. There's another world parallel to this, which is taqweeni, where the things happen with kun of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why you see certain stories in Quran about Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam meeting Khidr alayhi salam, and what happened. There was this Khidr alayhi salam was working in the Taqweeni realm. He was not following Sharia, Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam had to follow his Sharia. That is why every action that Khidr alayhi salam did when they were together for this expedition and learning journey, this is the Rihla, you may call it, all three actions were completely against the Sharia of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. Causing damage to the ship, killing that young boy playing there. People who did not help you with food, they actually rejected. You were rectifying the affair, getting the wall which was tilted, working for it and sorting it out. All three actions were not quite, in keeping with the Sharia of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, so he objected to all three every time. He could not stay quiet because as a Nabi, as a prophet, he has to uphold the principles, which he did. Sayyidina Khidr alayhi salam then gave the response, this was something that you don't know, I don't know, Allah knows, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed me, Allah commanded me to do it in order to make sure that you understand that there's something beyond what you know. There's certain things that you can't see. There's certain action which are beyond our understanding and comprehension. This is the Takwini world, the Kun world. So obviously, that is why they were doing what they were doing, the angels. So Allah says, وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ بِبَابِلَ هَارُوتَ وَمَارُوتَ. And ma, now again, relative pronoun. And whatever was unzila, revealed, whatever was sent down, alal malakain, on two angels, malakain is tasniyah, Dual form. In Arabic, there's singular, dual, and plural form. So malak, angels, malakain, malakan, different cases, but there's same meaning. Two angels, and then you have like muluk, maluk, malaika. Sorry, from malik is muluk, but from malak is malaika as a plural form. So malaika is plural of malak. Malak is angels, malik is king. I make a joke of this when people say malak saab to people who should be called not angel but shaitan. Sometimes the tribal system, feudal lords, they're called malak saab, and he is doing all those atrocities. So he's not malak. If you wanted to call, he's malik actually. That's the name that the tribe is malik, means king, means head, leaders, and you're making them malak, angels. They misappropriate people's wealth and in a way abuse their freedom. So anyway, and then not everyone. There are many good people as well. Obviously, no generalization. In Babylon, Harut, and the name of those two angels are Harut and Marut. وما يعلمان من أحد حتى يقولا and wama, this again nafiya. They would not yu'alliman, they were not teaching min ahadin to anyone until they say it. They would teach them the words which are magical words until they say hatta yaqula, until they would say innama nahnu fitna فلا تكفر إنما نحن فتنة فلا تكفر. So they would say, indeed, innama, indeed we are, nahnu, we are fitna, we are a trial, we are a test for you. We are teaching you this, but we are a trial. The reason people came to learn all those magical words, and they were trying to make sure that you understand these are wrong words and should not be used except for a right reason. Right reason being, if you hear something similar, read something similar, stay away. Someone saying those words, know that they are doing magic, stay away. This is only for you to protect yourselves. And that was the intention initially, to learn. And they said these are wrong words, but then they started abusing it, using it for their own personal ulterior motives. So they would say, we are test for you. فَلَا تَكْفُرْ, so do not, la takfur, do not reject, do not disbelieve. Means by learning it and using it in a wrong way, it would amount to kufr. So these are blasphemous words, so don't do that. فَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مِنْهُمَا ما يفرقون به بين المرء وزوجه. So يتعلمون. So تعلم. So remember the word يعلم was to teach. يتعلم, to learn. Okay, the forms change in different abwab of Arabic grammar. So anyway, فيتعلمون. So the people would learn. So they would learn minhuma, from both of them. They would learn from them ma, whatever يفرقون. فرق يفرق means to do tafriq, to do the separation. Bihi, with it, which they would separate with it, بين المرء, between a man, وزوجه, and his wife. They would learn those words in order to cause a separation between the husband and the wife. That was the task. That's what they thought. And obviously this is haram. وما هم بضارين به من أحد إلا بإذن الله. بإذن الله. Then Allah and Tha are pronounced with the tip of the tongue touching the tip of the incisors. بإذن الله. إذن. وما هم, and they were not. وما هم, they were not. بضارين, they were not The afflictor of harm. Harm, the person who causes harm is called dar. Harm is darar or dar. The person causing it, darar, is called dar. That's why Allah's name, one of the names is Allah, the one who could harm, the one who could harm. And the one who could benefit is An-Nafi', Nafi', Dar, An-Nafi', Ad-Dar. So Dareen, plural form of them. So they were not harmers. They could not harm at all. Bihi, with this means with this magic. Ahadin, to anyone, with ahadin, from any of the people, husband and the wife, they couldn't have harmed it, except that, except with Allah's permission. Allah would allow it and then it would happen. That raised the question, common
तो
question. Is
हो जाएगा
a terminology used
यार उससे
rida
क्या दे
and mashhur.
रिजवान को भी तो देने ही है ना पैसे
Mardi, we use this word mardi.
शेख खुद कैसे उसका पीछे चलो कल मैं BNB से फिलिंग ले आता हूँ फिलिंग करते हैं चलो कल मैं फिलिंग इसी करता हूँ कल मैं ले आता हूँ ना
So understand that everything happens with the will of Allah subhanahu. Nothing can happen, even the evil, whatever happens with the leave of Allah subhanahu. Will Allah allow it. Nothing can happen without Shaitan can't do it.
मैं नुमान वाले से पूछता हूँ काम पहुँच गया घर पे उसको पिक कर लेता हूँ
Then they will be okay. Even the
हैं
whatever harm,
हाँ मैंने कहा मैं अभी बस अभी पहुँचा हूँ
trial, tribulation, trouble time, calamities before any creation happens with the will of Allah. That's our aqidah. So Allah is the creator of evil and good both.
हाँ
He's not happy with the evil action or evil, even if it happens with his leave, it is not. So his pleasure is not in that. His mashia is. His allowing, his permission is there. He's allowing it to happen. He's letting it happen. But what is our role as the mukallaf? Mukallaf is someone who is at the age of discernment and he is burdened with some responsibility. So the responsible person, he is responsible for his kasb. Creation of the evil is not a problem. Acting evil is a problem. So if you do some wrong action, that's a problem. Creation of wrong is not a problem. We don't create, only Allah creates. So Allah's creating shaitan or all the wrong in the world is not a problem. We get involved in that, be part of it.
मैं जाता हूँ
Because it's like creation of Kalashnikov or any pistol is not a problem. To abuse it, use it in the wrong way is a problem. So acting evil is a problem. Creating evil is not a problem. Even in the material world, this internet, for example, on its own would not be considered haram in Islam. Creating internet is not haram itself. Misuse of that is going for haram stuff. Is haram. You understand that? That's a big difference between the two. So whatever Allah created, even if it's evil, it's not a problem. Because there is reason and there's hikmah. Why? We don't need to know that. That is beyond our comprehension. This is Allah. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has unlimited knowledge. Why He does that, that's up to Him. Many a time, though, in fact, almost every time, there is the wisdom which is that we are tested across it. There was a good example mentioned by some of our teachers, and it's a very common example. When you pose a question to the student, sometimes you play a little bit devil's advocate. You question, and he's about to give you right answer. He's just a little bit shaky. He said, "But what about that?" Okay, he becomes more hesitant, and you keep asking till he get to the wrong answer. It's not that you misguided him. You were just checking whether he knows this stuff very well, or he was just doing a fluky answer. But just like he tried, he knew a little bit, but he wasn't very good. But what about that? Yeah. Okay. So if he's clever and he's really worked hard, he will get the right answer no matter what. You can't, misguide him. You can't do any trouble to him. You would know. Like, whenever there's best of 5 questions, any stem with any statement with 5 answers to it, everyone knows this is definitely wrong, this is definitely wrong, this is definitely wrong. Between these two, could be this, could be that. So for teacher to put a wrong answer doesn't make the question wrong or make him crazy or any. You can't criticize teacher for putting a wrong answer there, because this is how just that we test you. So putting wrong thing is not a problem. You opting for that is a problem.
This one,
Illa bi-idhnillah.
So there are two things here. One is that the magic having the
effect of magic,
ability to harm someone.
Yes,
that's one thing.
Exactly.
Like if we hit someone, we have the ability to harm the other person. That is an ability. That's one thing. And the other thing is like whether that the person who recipient of that will get harmed or not.
Exactly. So that's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why even if you did not, you intended to harm someone and he doesn't get harmed, you still be punished. You'll be sinful for that. For wrong action, and this is why the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is what we call qas. An individual attempted with bad intention to kill someone. So he shot and then hit him. Or it hit, but it did go through and through, and person survived. And I give you the example, I don't know, maybe here or somewhere else. I know of a friend who is a doctor himself. He happened to be our senior, and he was driving his car, and he was stopped at this, he was just waiting for the light to turn green before he could drive. And he happened to be very close to Aga Khan Hospital. I'm not sure whether, I can't remember whether he was going to the hospital or anyway, he was on that road. He stopped there, someone came straight in front of him in the car and then shot. And he felt something is hitting him. I'm going. He recited kalima and he felt that I'll be dead. In a few seconds, he said, I'm still here. I'm not in pain. It looks like I'm okay. What happened? He said, you know what? Maybe it's going to come in a second. While I'm okay and I'm not fainting and I'm not feeling any effect, the man has already left because he did it and he ran away. One bullet and straight. And he just took his car as the signal opened and straight into the hospital, very close by. Aga Khan or Liaquat National, they were next to each other. So he just straight onto hospital A&E. And they did the X-ray. They said, you sure you got a bullet? We know that there's a wound there, but it has come out from the other end and no damage inside. X-ray completely fine. And it is so much of a miraculous thing that if you know anatomy of this part, that there's a bone, you have to literally cause problem. But there is, after on this sternum bone, this chest bone, on both sides there are ribs. To let the bullet go through that skin from in between the two ribs, and then all the vessels, all the nerves, all the arteries, all the structures there, to just navigate through that in just a line where you come out from the other end without causing any damage, it is like 1 in a million chance. Happened. I know the person very well, and he's still alive. Alhamdulillah. So they verified entry wound, exit wound, but nothing inside, all fine. And my brother had, younger brother, he had a bullet. Someone was trying to snatch his car, went through from here, straight to the other end, out. And I had it when I was doing OC. He passed away the spot. He had the bullet on the skin here. So hand was like this, came here, and got stuck in the bone here, under the skin. Feel it. Wound on both sides. It collapsed his lung both ways, and he died straight away, instantly. So one can die like this. The person who did it, he'll be sinful in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the intention of killing. That is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, first, if two people, Muslims, fighting each other, or any two people fighting each other, and they're both trying to kill the other party, the one who is killed and the killer, both would go to hellfire. So, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, killer will understand why the other one, he had the same intention. Kasb is that whatever you acquire, whatever happens is different. That is why if you did, on the other hand, the flip side is you had no intention of killing. You were just playing, and accidentally the bullet came out. It is fine. You thought there was no bullet in it. You took it all out yesterday, but there was accidentally one left. You know, I'm playing. In the just game, you hit someone. Now, law-wise, legally, you would have to pay the blood money for that. But in the eyes of Allah, you never had the intention. So your kasb is when you have the intention to harm someone, then you get the sin of that. Whatever happens after that, Sayyidina Musa would not be sinful for punching, but he never had the intention to kill the individual. But it so happened that it hit it where he just got killed. So we are required to only make the right decision with the right intention. And if we did it, fine. And otherwise, you'll be sinful. So the kasb is that much action. You are allowed, you have the control over, just using the trigger, just triggering the gun. Yeah, you can only trigger it. Whether it goes or not, whether it hits or not, whether it inside get, shatters the body or not, that's not in your control. Many a time it doesn't happen. Sometimes we have seen that rubble, under the rubble, small baby, elderly people, they're still alive. You mentioned about that man still there after how many days, and they were like trying to get him out. He said, "Oh, I haven't done my asr yet. Let me do my asr." Still alive. Allah fed them. Allah kept them alive. But the individual doing it would be sin. His crime. So we are only entitled for our kasb. Allah would let happen whatever happen. Whatever He wants to let. So His will is there, but His happiness or His pleasure is not there. He is not happy with this action of yours. So His pleasure and permission are two different things. It's like hissi misal, misal which you can do day in, day out. My 2-year-old, if when they were young, they would come and I'm having a cup of tea and doing my work and keep touching it. Hot cup of tea. Kids have this idea of touching it and putting finger. No. Who? And they won't listen. 3, 4 times, I find myself, I got fed up. Let them touch. Okay, fine. Came, put the finger in. Who started crying? Learned the lesson. Never would come. So the 5th time, I could have stopped. It was allowed by me. I permitted it, but I wasn't happy with that. I didn't mean that he should get hurt, but he was so keen that I just let it happen. So sometimes we could do that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does the same in order to. My niece, she was in this habit of eating the dirt. She would go in the garden and would have a dirt, and you just don't know, you can only see. So my sister complained, "Oh, what do I do?" Don't worry. Next time she goes there, let me know. So I saw her going. My sister told me, "Oh, there she is." So I just quickly went from the other side and took a worm from the ground. As she put something in her hand, I put the worm with that. So, she started crying. And that was the only time, never ever touched the garden. Before she wouldn't even go near that dirt. It was only maybe a 2 year or 2.5 or 3 years. Sorted. Negative reinforcement. Because she saw the worm. I said, oh, they live in the so she could recognize that's coming from there and never touch it again. So with different ways of training, sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have 1,000 different hikmah behind it. We don't need to know that. That's why He's God, omnipotent, omniscient, most merciful. So He could do whatever He thinks appropriate. So kasb is the thing that we are accountable for. Not that we created that action. Allah did it, but Allah let it happen. وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنفَعُهُمْ. And they would learn what would not yadurru would harm them and not benefit them. What's the point of learning something that is not going to benefit you? So the point is, ilmun nafi' is the thing that we want to learn. Beneficial ilm, not harmful ilm. وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا لَمَنِ اشْتَرَاهُ مَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. And by Allah, surely, tahqiq, by Allah. Alimu, they knew that man ishtarahu, whatever they're trying to get out of it, whatever they're selling against, whatever what they've bought with it, ma lahu fil akhirati min khalaq, it hasn't got any portion for them in the life hereafter. There's no benefit of that in the no share in hereafter. Ma lahu, this ma is nafiya, not for them in the akhirah any share. What's the point of learning something which you would not benefit in dunya and in akhirah? Maybe in dunya for petty, reasons, but no benefit in the life. Rather, you'll be punished. وَلَبِئْسَ مَا شَرَوْا بِهِ أَنفُسُهُمْ. And what a bad thing, what a rubbish thing they sold with it themselves. They sold themselves against this. Means they're getting themselves into trouble and getting the worldly benefit. So whatever little benefit you get through that magic, splitting husband and wife, what ulterior motive you have is very, very little compared to you yourself going in hellfire against. So you're selling yourself, you're subjecting yourself to hellfire, you're happy with that in compensation for whatever little you earn through that magic. And that's a bad deal, very bad deal. لو كانوا يعلمون. So maybe people are very, picky in things. So they would say, Allah said they knew it. Definitely they knew it, that this is wrong. And then Allah said, if only they knew. So if they knew, how could Allah say that they didn't know? Means, if they knew, they would have done that. So there's two levels of knowledge. One is the concept, one is the actual knowledge. Concept is we know what's happening, but we stay away from that or not. We act on it or not, if it was beneficial, if it was wrong to stay away. If you know something and you do not act on that, you don't know. You don't know true value of that. You don't know the true harm of that. Otherwise, you would never have done it. So knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would be unhappy with it and you still do it means that you don't know. So they knew it in that context. So knowledge, actual knowledge is a true knowledge which leads to right action with right intention at the right time. Not afterwards, not before it. Not with bad intention and not a wrong action. All three has to be there. Correct action, right action, good action at the right time and with good intention. Otherwise, it may be good, but with the wrong intention, bad action. Could be good, but at a wrong time, again, not beneficial. It has to be. That altogether is the ilm. True ilm is to act on the knowledge with the intention only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure, not any ulterior motive, and at the right time. Doing something which is in accordance with Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a pure intention to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but doing it at the wrong time. Praying Fajr in Maghrib, making Maghrib 4, thinking that extra set, I want to do that. Let's do it. You can't do that. It's prohibited at that point to do 4th rakah with it knowing that it's only 3. وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقَوْا. If they believed and if they had feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if they had piety, what would have happened? لَمَثُوبَةٌ مِّنْ عِندِ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ. Then the reward from Allah, la is lam taqid. Taqid means that most surely, definitely. Mathuba is thawab. Thawab and mathuba are the same thing. Masdar meaning. Thawab, the good reward from Allah, min indillah, from with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is good. They would have had very good reward if only they believed and not gone onto the wrong path. And if they were pious, means they only use this as a knowledge because it was needed. People needed to know it so that they can avoid. You need to know evil of the time so that you can stay away from evil. With that intention is good. لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ, if only they knew. Few points we learn for good action. We always check the intention. Knowledge should incite to do more work than less. I'm just going to point few points about that. Nafs will always try to circumvent it. So there's a concept called hila sharia. People sometimes learn this hila and then start acting on that. Hila sharia is to circumvent sharia. I know that zakat is fard, and I know that zakat is fard as long as I have that wealth with me for a year. You know what? If before that anniversary, the date of my zakah, say 5th of Ramadan, by the way, it has to be a date, Islamic date, lunar calendar date, not month. Oh, Ramadan, I pay zakat. No, because a day before or after, if you had some money on that day, then the zakat anniversary is due, and you have to pay zakat on that as well. And some money is gone out a day before that, or even on that day, you don't have to pay zakat. So you need to know a date. If you haven't fixed it, fix it. If not, so you should know the minute I say, what is your zakat anniversary, you should know. It's 21st of Ramadan. Any date, but it has to be a fixed date. Ideally, it should be the first time you became Sahib al-Nisab. That is your recurrent date, and it doesn't change unless you become bankrupt, God forbid, and then you start again whenever you start again later. So it's not like I feel like doing it in Ramadan. Whenever you are Sahib al-Nisab, that is when you do. Because for 30 years you did the same, but actually from first Ramadan you keep moving. After 30 years you actually engulf 1 year worth of, 1 month every year would mean that you could have actually lost a year here and there. So don't do that. Look from the solar calendar. The coming 10 days we are extra. So don't do that. Islamic lunar calendar, 30 days, you have, sorry, the Islamic date of a lunar calendar, which is the Islamic date, you have to have it. So people, what do they do? It's quite common. It's quite common thing. The husband would say that I am donating all my money to you or my wife. So I don't have anything on the date of my anniversary. So no zakat. 11 months later, wife said, I'm going to give it back to you now. No zakat on me. So no one is paying any zakat. And yo-yoing. And they would find out on the day of judgment, but also in this world when they get no barakah in their wealth. So this is called hila sharia. Circumvent sharia. Haram. No, don't do that. Tawriya. People now learn, oh, actually, if you wanted to say a word that maybe people would use those words, which they don't mean, but the other person thinks, oh, this is what he meant. Only with a very strict condition it may be permissible. So learn that and start using it for you. So knowledge of these things actually will help you increase your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maslaha. Oh, due to the maslahat we use, not good. Don't use Sharia for that. People do that. Previous nations have done it, and many Muslims do it. Killer. Now we were young. In our young days, we would pray all 17 in Isha, all 12 in Dhuhr, 8 in Asr. We didn't know anything better. 14 on Jummah. Now, as we grow up, now we know from Masjid and from teachers, it's only fard to do faraid and sunnah mu'akkada and witr. You know what? I would only do 9. You'll be hard pushed to find out individuals who do more than 9 a day for Isha. Maghrib, 3 fard. If you're so pious, maybe 2 sunnah. That's it. Likewise for Dhuhr, 4 fard and maybe sunnah before and after if you follow Hanafi school and this. Otherwise, 2 before, 2 after other schools. It's sorted. And now people say, oh, there's actually one witr. And Imam Ahmad allowed that. Let's do even one witr. 4 fard, one witr. Done. There are many people who do it, and I know. And I keep telling them off. I'm so tired. SubhanAllah. The minute you go home, you're not tired on the phone for next 2, 3, 4 hours. So you're learning Sharia actually knows you know how. There was a brother who recently asked this question. Oh, I didn't know that masha, wiping over the head, was fard, out of 4 fard. I thought that was sunnah. So I don't do any sunnah in my wudu. I've never done it for the last 10 years. All my prayer are without masha. I said, I'm not upset that you didn't know that. I'm more upset that why you opted to go for faraid anyway. You were taught as a young child to do all those actions of sunnah. We never knew anything different. And I don't know that I've ever did faraid and not did my wudu in the order that we normally do. Everyone does that from like this all the way. And especially when there's certain other imams who consider that to be wajibat, must part of. In Hanafi schools, only 4 rakah. There are very few things where Hanafis have more leniency than other scholars, than other imams. Wudu is one of those. So only 4 faraid. Other imams have some other conditions, like intention, order, and bismillah, and dua, and intention, that sort of thing. Hanafis don't have that based on Quranic ayah. They take only 4. So, oh, wow. So the Hanafis said, I'm going to use this. That's why he did it. Who told you to leave all the sunnah? Are these sunnah, these method of Rasulullah never using anything other than this order of performing wudu? Why would you go out of that? I'm completely, literally, if I knew the individual for long enough, I would be very, very unhappy with them. This is quite upsetting to see. Your knowledge is actually making you do less action than more. Our teacher, Sheikh Salim Zohra, he was doing his alim course when he was in madrasa in Darul Bari. So he said, I was in final year, about to be alim. So I was with my father on this was Eid day to visit my sister up north, in Borden somewhere. So he said I was having chats with my sister, not seen for like in a long time. Every year we just get one holiday, so we just spend some time together. So I was in the kitchen where she was cooking and I was just chatting and whatnot. And my father kept saying, and this was Eid al-Adha, my father said, oh, Salim, just go for Asr prayer. Yeah, Dad, inshallah, we go half an hour. And then every few minutes, Dad would say, oh, we're getting late, we're getting late. He said, Dad, we're a traveler anyway, there's plenty of time. And even Jama'ah is not wajib on us. And he was right. As a traveler, you can skip Jama'ah. So Dad just put his head down, and then in 10 minutes, they both went. And they, mashallah, managed to be in masjid. After the prayer finished, when everyone left, because they knew him, there were 2 scholars and an old teacher of Quran, and Harisa, Hafisa. And then he took his son to the side and said, I did not make you alim, or I'm not working on you to get alim, to find rukhsa, find loopholes, and find ways to act less. Rather, you should be learning deen to do more. And then he said, I don't remember in my life I've ever missed this takbir of tashriq. The Eid al-Adha, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamdu, you do until the Asr of 13th. That was the last takbir with Jama'ah. I've never missed that with Jama'ah ever in my life. And I know you can do on your own, and we are traveling. But you are not learning deen to lessen your actions. Try to find out loopholes. This is only sunnah, this is only sunnah, ghair mu'akkad, I can skip it, I can do it. Astaghfirullah. We are learning in order to increase our action, to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the point here. So learn what is beneficial. This final point about amulet, but I would leave it because this is an important topic. I should be covered a little bit with detail because there are ways to understand. Or we leave it inshallah ta'ala for next time. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum.